the nurture element of like using LinkedIn or emails is really big because if you're high ticket, they're not going to buy. They're going to need maybe like 10 to 20 touch points with you. They're going to need case studies. So this is where the repurposing comes in, right? You have that video shoot for Miranda. Now what do we do with it? We're going to make short video clips to post on LinkedIn. Maybe we'll post one as a webinar.
Hello again, and welcome to our Video Storytelling for Community Engagement podcast. Today I talk with Jessica Bennett of Got Writer's Block. Jessica and I talk all about content in this episode, from different types of content for different stages of the funnel, how to repurpose content across platforms, and where we think user-generated content does and does not work in communications. Look out for more episodes of Video Storytelling for Community Engagement by The Art of Storytelling on all podcast platforms. So we're going to talk about all kinds of ways you can be using written and visual content in your social media and in all of your marketing. Jessica, first of all, why don't you tell me briefly, what is Got Writer's Block?
I'm sure you've all heard the phrase before, oh, I have got writer's block. Well, that's exactly what our content agency does. So basically, when you are stuck on email marketing projects, LinkedIn writing projects, social media campaigns, we are there to help you get from that confused writer's block to actually putting your thoughts into captions, email marketing, LinkedIn posts, and turning that into strategy.
And what kind of industries do you work with?
So we work a lot with health and wellness, social impact. We really like working with CEOs and founders that have a really big mission and they want to use marketing for good. As well, we definitely work with financial professionals and technology too.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Yeah. I do have quite a lot of experience with health and nonprofit as well. So
yes, you love it.
Overlap. Yeah. So with your writing, what do you see that is different at different stages in the funnel? So like what kind of content are you producing for the different stages that the customer goes through?
So basically with the funnel, you have really brand awareness content at the top. So these are new people who don't know about your company. You're not really trying to pitch them yet. It's just more like introductory educational content, learning about the company, maybe their values, things like that. Stories are really good to pull people in. And then mid funnel is, okay, I've decided that I really want to go like with this health provider. I want to learn more information. So maybe that's when you start putting out webinars, you start putting out tutorials, you start putting out case studies to try and convince them that yes, they're the solution or you're the solution for them and choose me. And then when it gets really targeted at the bottom, that's when you're really putting content to convert them. So very personalized. Like I was saying, it could definitely be very targeted towards their specific need. So maybe it's like a physio. Like here is a sample plan of what could happen when you come and visit. So very targeted to their needs versus more general at the top.
Okay, great. And how are you getting stories into your content? So like for me, I often do like employee stories or customer success stories, or maybe like an about us or a founder story. What kind of stories are you putting in with your content?
Really similar. As well, a lot about community building. Like we recently worked with a video game company and their mission is to stop like the bullying and harassment side. So then we'll put stories from their community into the newsletters. So yeah, very similar style, like customer stories, employee stories, and things like that.
Nice. Okay. And so what do you think about using like personal stories about people? Like, do you think that human element is really important to get into your content?
Oh, of course. And personal branding is on the rise. People buy from people they like. Whether you like to think that or not, it's true. So when you really put out that type of content where they connect, they're going to want to talk to you more versus just like a sales pitch, like buy this now.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about repurposing content, because this is really where it is, because there's so much that you can do, so many opportunities. For me, repurposing content from a video production kind of looks like this. So we do these long interviews not long, they're like 15, 20 minutes. But we have these long format interviews. And from that, we narrow it down to like 3 to 5 minutes, or depending on what the client needs or the strategy that we're going for, we narrow it down. But we have this long format, and that has a lot of interesting stuff that just doesn't make it into the final cut. And what we do with our clients is we give them either the full audio file or we get it transcribed. We give them the transcribed file. And then, a writer like you or your team can now take all of this content and start to repurpose that in words, in text, right? And it hasn't really cost you much time because you didn't have to go to the interview. We just give it to you and you start it. The other thing we do is we repurpose even the short 3-minute videos, which usually go and live on a website. We take those and we shorten them and repurpose them for like Instagram Reels. So a Reels edit is completely different from a 3-minute about us website video, right? But it's interesting because you can keep editing the content to get different pieces for different platforms or different needs. We also give our clients some photos from their session. So now they have the photo, which looks the same as the video. It's the same photo from the same session. And they have the text content. And then someone like you can now write that into a blog or a newsletter or a email or something or a post. So, the options are pretty broad. And, we like to try and help our clients to make the most out of every session. So it might look and feel like, oh, this is a big thing to do and it's going to cost us a lot of money to get it started. But once you get it started, you realize that you have so many opportunities to keep using it and reusing it in different ways that it really becomes so worth your while, And I like to say that if you start with a story, you have endless opportunities and ideas to go from.
Oh, I totally agree. And I think you really hit that on the nail when you said that it's worth the investment, because a lot of people get like sticker shock when they hear how much a video shoot is. But everything you just said shows that like this content lives on. It's not just one time. And like you said, like it can be little videos for the website. It can be Instagram Reels. Like you were saying with the transcript, a lot of times we'll be given a transcript. Of course, we can put it into a blog. We can put it into a newsletter. We can shorten it. Depending on what the content is, it can be a mini ebook. If it's learning, it really depends. The content just lives on, and you could turn it into different social media posts, like you were saying. You could categorize things. So I think in terms of repurposing, it's endless opportunities.
Yeah, and I think the clients that aren't seeing that, they're the ones that are missing. They're missing the opportunity, and they're just seeing, the price tag, and they're seeing one item, but really, it's never just one. You can make it into so much more.
And then as well, if you're a corporate brand, really having that video element is really gonna, like, I think, elevate your profile and make you look that extra bit professional. So then you can attract those larger customers that you're looking for and also portray that really professional image.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know if you do a lot of writing for people's websites, but you can tell when a website has been written in a professional way. Similarly with video. So like, I feel like on corporate websites, you need to have a professional video.
Yes.
So if you're a big company and you are making lots of money and charging clients lots of money, then you need to put your money where your mouth is, and you need to have a professional video the same way you'll have professional written content. So there's nothing that I dislike more than going on a serious corporate website and finding some user-generated vertical phone video that someone made, and they thought that was acceptable. And I feel like that's you're not doing yourself any justice, and you're really almost insulting your clients, because it's like, I could not be bothered to do this properly, so I just did it quickly and cheaply and myself on my phone. So yeah, so I think that's where I don't like to see the wrong kind of content being used in the wrong way. But as we were talking about before, there is a place for user-generated content.
I think you're right, but it's not on a corporate website, because like we're saying, that basically lowers your brand image. And it also may have prospects questioning if you care that much about your video, how much do you care about me? You may
Absolutely.
not think that, but that's what customers are going to see when they see like a little phone video on your website.
Yeah. And, it comes down to it's to me, it's similar to saying, well, all of my staff have on like really nice clothes or nice uniforms because I made the effort, or,
Hmm.
we just showed up, however, and we don't really care how we look, even though we're in a really professional setting, and we should care more, and we should put our best face forward to our clients.
Now, for corporate, I'll talk about user generated, then I'll go into more small companies, small business. So
Okay.
there is a place for user generated for sure. You could do like behind the scenes clips, more like corporate culture, showing off your corporate culture. You could even have like a day in the life, showing what employees do or how projects are done. But then you could have a professional video actually showing like your values, your mission, your story.
Yeah.
And then I would say for small business, user generated content is everything because small businesses rely on community and a lot of relationship building. So I feel like as a small business owner, you can definitely get away with more user generated content. But I would also argue that small businesses also need a professional video on their website to elevate that image and actually get clients to trust them and want to pay that higher price tag.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think there's definitely a place for both. I mean, even in our business, we share lots of client work, which is professional videos, but we also share a lot of behind the scenes. And people like to see the behind the scenes. They like to see, where are we today? What are we doing? How does
Mm-hmm.
it look when we're shooting? And I think it gives our clients some confidence because they can actually see, hey, this is what a video shoot looks like. And here's the team at this business, and this is what they're doing. And that's why we always take behind the scenes, and we use it in our social media. We use it more, I think, in stories and maybe reels.
Mm-hmm.
Not so much in posts. We try and keep
Yeah, for sure.
posts. Yeah. So I don't know how you feel about social media and what should be used in different pieces of the platforms because
No,
it's
I'm
confusing.
totally with you. Yeah. Those
Yeah.
type of posts can be reels or stories depending on
Hmm.
what they are and maybe depending on like the audio and the trends.
Yeah.
And a lot of reels then become stories because you share them, right?
Yes. How do you find social media is going these days with trends, and what is getting more traction? Is it text and photos? Is it just text? Is it video and text? I know like LinkedIn keeps changing the algorithm. What about carousels?
LinkedIn is loving carousels. LinkedIn loves selfies. Or authentic photos. If you put a photo, your impressions are going to go up. It doesn't even matter what it says. LinkedIn is also definitely favoring video. You can see that in your impressions as well because it shows that like human element. And then another one on LinkedIn would be newsletters that they're really pushing right now.
Hmm.
And then, of course, on Instagram, they're really pushing the reels and the video element. I don't really do TikTok, but of course, videos are really, that's what TikTok is, all videos. It's becoming
Yes.
really popular for building your brand.
Yeah. And as we're talking about TikTok, what kinds of clients or businesses or industries do you think need to be on TikTok, and which ones don't? Because sometimes I hear from a client, oh, we want to go on TikTok. And I just think, wow, I don't think TikTok has your audience. I don't think this is where you really want to be. But, what are other content creators doing and thinking about?
Yeah. Like I said, I'm not a TikTok expert, but I have seen a lot of B2B experts actually go on TikTok. A lot of different businesses are going. So I would say just test it out and then always have a strategy of engagement, just like on any other platform to post and then also be liking your prospects' content so then they can find you. You
Hmm.
can always test, you never know because a lot of people with TikTok they'll post something that they don't think is going to convert and it blows up, or they're like, oh, this is definitely going to convert and then it doesn't. So it's really an experiment.
So what about, using stories and using content to talk about the culture behind the company? Because the culture behind the company is so important, and it's important for, the leadership teams to have a company with a really strong culture. And it's important for the employees to understand the culture as well. How do you find, written content or any kind of social media content? How do you find that is being impacted by the culture or impacting the culture?
Well, you definitely see like when there's a corporate event or a team party, like different employees posting about it and showing how they had a fun time. You don't know internally if it's like you have to post or they wanted to post, but that definitely showcases like a positive brand and that like that togetherness that people are looking for. So I would say a lot of like team pictures and internal pictures showing off events. And then occasionally I do see kind of like what we're seeing, like behind the scenes videos
Yeah.
of we did this or like this is how this project goes, like step by step kind of things.
Mm-hmm. And do you have any tips on the frequency of posting to the platforms or the frequency of newsletters? Like people always ask,
Mm-hmm.
how much should I do? Is it too much? Is it not enough? If I do too many, people will unfollow me or unsubscribe. So what do you feel about that? And how do you advise your clients?
Yeah. So in terms of posting, I would say it's better to be consistent than like post for 2 weeks than not. So it's really better to say, okay, I'm going to post like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday every week and every week be there so they know to look at you. You can post every day. That's great. You're going to get more views. You're going to get more engagement. But then if you stop, people are going to wonder where you went. So I would say pick a schedule and stick to it. As well, you want to be putting out the quality content versus just posting to post because you really want to bring people in, show your values, show your educational content, things like that. And then newsletters, I think weekly is good. I think it depends what kind of campaign you're doing. Like if you're doing a promotion, maybe you start off with a bunch of like educational emails, story emails, then every day or so you're sending a message because it's a campaign. So I think it really depends if it's like a campaign and it's like a month period and you're sending emails every day or every other day, or if it's kind of like a roundup email and it's like, here is the summary of the month.
Yeah. Okay. And with email campaigns, what is a good open rate?
Minimum 20, but I'll tell you that open rates aren't entirely accurate because they put out that new Apple thing where it automatically like opens your email. So it'll just say open even if you didn't.
Mm-hmm.
20 plus is good. 30 is great. What was the other thing? We just talked about open rates. Click-through rates, at least over one or two is really good.
Okay.
And then the other thing I was going to say about frequency is test your audience. Because a few years ago, I was doing this campaign and we were editing it for a health coach. And we realized that these people were moms and we were actually sending them too many emails because they didn't have time to open them.
Mm-hmm.
So then we actually went through the time periods and we were like, oh, like we should send these at like 7 a.m. So then when they wake up with their kids, they're looking at them. When we were sending them really late, they wouldn't even get to it.
Yeah.
So I think you have to test with your audience and know who they are to do that.
Yeah, and it takes time to get that data, right? Like you can't just spend
Mm-hmm.
1 month or 2 months and then think, well, this was successful or not, because it takes a while to get those that kind of information coming back to you.
Mm-hmm. And you can, of course, like you can Google like studies and stats. Say like when do healthcare professionals check their emails? Like I
Mm,
know there's stats on like Instagram of when like to post healthcare, when to post retail products. So you can definitely Google those stats and then
okay.
use them and then tweak.
And okay, so what about B2B? I mean, B2B is kind of where I am, and I think that's where
Mm-hmm.
a lot of businesses are in the B2B area. Do you have any thoughts on, good content for B2B or good strategies for B2B?
Mm-hmm. So B2B is a longer game. So you need a really strong nurture strategy and presence. So one thing that will make you stand out is video because a lot of B2B companies are like boring, right?
Mm,
And they don't want to post content. But if you post content as a B2B company, say on LinkedIn, you're instantly going to stand out. You're instantly going to show your personality and why you versus like every other tech company that does the same can be very competitive in B2B.
mhm.
And then the nurture the nurture element of like using LinkedIn or emails is really big because if you're high ticket, they're not going to buy. They're going to need maybe like 10 to 20 touch points with you. They're going to need case studies. So this is where the repurposing comes in, right? You have that video shoot for Miranda. Now what do we do with it? We're going to make short video clips to post on LinkedIn. Maybe we'll post one as a webinar. I personally love webinars. I would say webinars are a good strategy. I know you like them too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So B2B is really having that ongoing content as well as engaging with the prospects you want to engage with. So they remember you want to just be top of mind because it's a longer sales game for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, the other question that comes up a lot is, should you be working your personal LinkedIn or your business LinkedIn page? So for like small, medium-sized businesses, I mean, any business that has both employees and a business page on LinkedIn, what do you think gets the most traction?
Personal branding is on the rise. You need to be posting on your personal profile. It's the same idea as people like to know who they buy from. But then corporate also really likes using the company page. So the company page can be used for like updates, educational posts, what else? Maybe stats, maybe big wins and achievements. And then the personal side is more like the thought leadership where you're talking about like maybe issues in healthcare. Like, what do we think about the shortages of doctors? Or what do we think about different products? Versus the company page is more like educational, stats, employee based. And then the personal is more your feelings and thoughts about different things.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, like for me personally, my personal LinkedIn works a lot better. I get a lot more
Yes.
followers. You know, you can connect
Yeah.
with people so much easier. People don't always really want to follow your business page.
No.
So I find like the followers are less. And yeah, I think just working your personal LinkedIn is really working better for us at least.
There is a new trend though. I may try it or I may tell clients to try it. It's basically turning your company page more into a publication, almost like a Reddit feed or like a magazine. So people want to engage in those articles and then they want to follow you to get those posts, to get the news.
Right. So is that like sharing more articles on your business LinkedIn?
But your articles from your company.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. So
Yeah.
they will just pick like one topic. Maybe they want to talk about like healthcare content marketing, and that's all they talk about.
Yeah.
Or maybe they want to talk about AI and copywriting, and that's it. It's just very like niche, and then people want to follow for all those little updates.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's lots of potential with LinkedIn.
Hmm.
Are you like a LinkedIn power user? Like, are you like
I
all over?
love LinkedIn, and one of
Yeah.
my favorite things that I'm going to start again is the LinkedIn Live.
Yeah.
Same as Facebook Live, Instagram Live, because when you go live, it pings all your users.
Yeah.
Versus when you post, only like 5 or 10% see your content.
Yes.
And I'm a really big fan of also using Sales Navigator to really filter and target your audience and find those clients that you're looking for who don't show up on your feed because you're not connected to them yet.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
You like Sales Navigator too, right?
I'm trying. Yeah. I'm trying to get a little more to grips with Sales Navigator. I might have to ask you some other questions another time about how to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But for anyone that doesn't know why we like Sales Navigator, basically it has all these filters. So you could say like New York, Miami, the exact position of the person, like maybe it's director of marketing or sales that is the one that has the decision-making power for video.
Mm-hmm.
And then you could choose the company size. So if you're like, oh, small companies don't really have a budget, we're going to go for companies 500 plus.
Right.
And then it like spits out a list and then you can know who to engage with.
Yeah, I definitely need to try and spend a few more hours on.
You were starting before and I know it worked. You just got to go back in. It takes effort.
Yeah, it is. It does work. When it works, it does work really well.
Yeah.
Okay, so last question. Do you have any like client success stories or any favorite client stories of some projects that you've done that you really liked and you really like brought some impact to the clients and their company?
Yeah, so one of them that we worked with, it was a little while back, but it was an eco-friendly product company. So first of all, I love working with like the health and wellness and beauty space. And it was female owned, so that was really fun. And the reason that it was such a fun project was because myself and my team, we really got to work together. So she came to us with having like no brand presence. My team helped her with the email marketing, building out her campaign. So it started in the fall. And then basically we did like Black Friday, we did a winter sale, we did a Boxing Day sale. And we showed her that even with a small list, because they were engaged, you could get sales. If you know what to say and you know like how to do email marketing. And then from the brand presence side, the Instagram side, it really helped grow her account, just because of like the brand imagery and basically bringing that brand to life. And it just goes to show that when you have like a brand strategy, email marketing, you don't need a big following to make money and to have an impact.
Right. Yeah. And how do you start an email marketing campaign from scratch? Like if you have no followers, totally brand new, like where do you start to get these emails from?
That's hard. Okay, so you can do a few things. I know on LinkedIn, when you have posts, sometimes people just at the bottom, I do this too. You can say subscribe to newsletter, and definitely people subscribe. People like to do freebies. So like you could say download my checklist and then get on the email list. And you could also do webinars, and then once they're on the webinar list, they're on your email list. That's when I used to do a lot. So I would say those are three main ones. But basically, and then also on Instagram, you could do contests. I guess on any platform, but on Instagram, you could do a contest, say, put your email in, and then we'll choose a winner. But definitely collecting emails can be tricky. But you have to at least ask, otherwise you're not going to get emails.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or make it exclusive. Like you get on my list to get a promo code, things like that.
Okay. Yeah. And like how do you make sure that you're being careful not to break any laws with spams?
Right. So that's why you have to say like get on, like you're not just adding people, like get on my list, and then you have the form like first name, last name, and then they go into your email software.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you need to be careful.
And when you're doing your email campaigns with clients, are you sending the emails for them, like are you using like MailChimp or something?
Yeah, so it depends. Some of them are tech savvy. A lot of them like to use MailerLite, MailChimp, or ActiveCampaign. What we'll do, so there's two ways. So sometimes we'll build them out templates, and then each time we'll just copy and paste the text in and the images. And then some of them are like, no, please do it for me. And then we'll actually insert it. We'll put the subject line, we'll schedule it. And then the other thing that you also have to think about is segmenting. So that's done before, but basically when you add certain people, what list do you want them to go? Like, do you want to be emailing your healthcare clients the same content as you email your financial clients? Or do you want like different segments? So you have to use that. And most of the time clients don't know how to do that. So we'll help them segment, which is really key.
Yeah. And I guess like the sooner you start segmenting, the better, because if you just collect a whole set of email addresses and they're not segmented, then how do you go afterwards and start to segment?
Yeah. Every single event, I make my own group, and it doesn't matter. So I'm just like, oh, this is from Staples. Okay, I'm going to email Staples people these things.
Right.
Oh, I went to a healthcare conference. This is here. So yeah, as soon as I put them in, I group them. Otherwise, you're going to forget. And then even, I think it's okay to have them all in one group for a while, because you can also see like click-through rates and opens. And maybe there's specific people who like really like specific topics. Then you can make a separate group for them. So it's not always segment right away, but you can learn. Always look at the data, always learn.
Yeah. And I was talking to a client today who had done a video project and she got like no views. And we looked at her YouTube and there was like, less than 100 views. And she's like, yeah, I don't know what I did wrong. And, there's probably so much that she did wrong, probably like just from the posting and the sharing and
Mm-hmm.
tagging, and even just, did you post the actual file or did you just share the YouTube? Like,
Oh,
what
yeah.
did you do? Yeah, so it's you have to look at the data, but you also have to know why the data is the way it is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes it's just a mistake that was made. It doesn't mean that, your campaign or your project wasn't good. It just means somewhere somebody dropped the ball and made a mistake with something. And,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why you didn't get a lot of engagement. So yeah, you look at the data, but you also have to look at the context of how this data was generated.
Yeah, I think that's really smart. And especially with YouTube, there's lots of optimization. So maybe things were missed. And like you're saying, maybe she didn't actually post the file. She posted
Yeah.
the sharing link. Yeah.
Yeah,
See, you need to know that. And that's why you work with a video expert.
yeah. It's only when you really start to ask these questions and dig a little bit deeper as to, okay, why did this previous project not work? That you find, where the little mistakes were made that the client doesn't know about.
The
Yeah.
last thing I want to say is also think about learning styles. So there is a benefit of having video content for people that are like audio visual, but then there's also a benefit of having like blogs and emails because some people like reading.
Yep.
And then the podcast, maybe some people just like audio and listening. So
Yeah.
having all the different formats and repurposing just helps you hit more clients.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, we were at a women in business event, and one of the women, she wrote this wonderful book about women's health. And someone I was with said, oh, well, I don't really have time to sit down and read the book. Do you have it as an audiobook?
Yeah.
And she said, I had no idea that you could have audiobooks. Right now, okay, granted, she was, a senior and she just didn't know about the technology.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was a thing, and she had just got this book and the book was doing so well. And someone asked her for an audiobook and she was like, wow, I had no idea. Let me go and look into that, because that's like a whole nother avenue that she hadn't even thought about. That could be, doing just as well as her actual printed book.
Oh, that's all. Yeah, that's exactly what we're talking about. It's just a whole other audience.
Yeah, and it's the same thing. It's the same content. You just have to now take that content and use it in a different way. Like, she doesn't have to write a second book. She just needs to get the book as an audiobook. And
yeah, like I love audiobooks for the car if I'm commuting.
Exactly.
I just put them on.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Well, I think we had a great discussion about so many different topics. I mean, we could talk about each of these topics for hours on end. But thank you so much for your time today. And I look forward to doing this again with you another time.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Miranda. Take care.